Hi everybody, I am Ronan, and that is Wadsworth, and welcome to Now Z Here. It is still the 30-day Dapper Challenge, and it is still the 31 days of trans visibility. So this is part 3 of the trans visibility type thing that I'm doing. I'm a little behind the timeline of where I wanted to be, but that's okay, since I'm sort of cherry-picking the questions I want to answer anyway. And some of the questions that I'm not getting to might make good video topics in the future. This is just sort of my way of taking part in the 31 days of trans visibility in some fashion. So in the week after I last did one of these videos, I took a look through the questions. The two that stuck out to me were the ones about pride and privilege. And I'm going to actually take them in reverse order from what they were listed, and tackle the privilege one first, which was, what particular privileges do you have that you're aware of? How do you interact with them? What specific challenges have you faced? Has your relationship to this changed since you came out as trans? The pride one basically being, why are you proud to be trans? How do you show your pride? So privileges, which even though I've gotten more comfortable in naming them, it still feels awkward to shine a spotlight on that stuff. And that's just me acknowledging my own feeling of, even though this is something that is necessary to do for my own growth, it's uncomfortable because growth is uncomfortable. So, that being said, privileges. I am white. I present a more masculine than feminine image. I am middle class, or at least I am not poor. I have no debilitating disabilities, and the ways in which I'm neuroatypical are not so extreme that they can't be, helped along with therapy and certain medications, which I am privileged to have access to because of the place in which I live, and again, money. So, privileges. I have them. There are a lot of ways in which society structurally has been beneficial to me, or at the very least, has not placed huge roadblocks in my way. Even when it comes to being trans, I am in Chicago, a place with a very, very good trans community and structures within it that allow for the support of that community. Asterisk, access to said resources may be affected by disability status or race or actual location within Chicago, because Chicago is a huge place. I think my relationship to privilege has shifted somewhat as I've come out as trans, as I've gone further in my transition. There's definitely been a factor of becoming aware of those privileges I already had at the same time as I was just sort of discovering myself. I have a feeling that if Black Lives Matter had been a thing when I was, say, 17, I might have been on the All Lives Matter train, because I used to be one of those people who didn't understand that when we talk about structural institutions, we're not necessarily singling out individuals. And so when a woman who's fed up with the institution of men says men suck or men are pigs, she's not talking about every single individual man that exists or ever existed. Anyway, that took me a long time to understand. And so my relationship to privilege has changed a bit in just the discovery and exploration of transness, but it has also changed in that I became aware of it, because being unaware of your privilege is part of being privileged. It's been a very real and conscious part of my transition that I want to be aware of the ways in which I'm maybe being afforded more privilege or given more room as I appear more masculine. And I want to either find ways to use that space that I'm being given, or find ways to cede it to people who maybe wouldn't have it otherwise. And that's a very complicated dance. I haven't mastered it, but I'm working on it. Now, pride. The question being, why are you proud to be trans? How do you show your pride? Etc. It's interesting because I would say that I have trans pride. I'd say that I have genderqueer pride, non-binary pride, femme pride. But when I'm faced with the question of why are you proud to be XYZ, my instinct is to answer that it's not necessarily a question of being proud to be trans because of something about being trans. It's about pride in being genuine to myself, being as honest a person as I can be. It's pride about being expressive in the ways that I want to be expressive. It's pride in my me-ness that I get to share with the world. And so a lot of the time, the ways in which I show my pride is just by showing up, by existing, by being visible. I show my pride by learning 30 different types of tie knots. I show my pride by making videos and writing songs. I show my pride by doing theater and being a trans body on stage. I show my pride by being me, the best that I can be, every day, and being happy about it. So there you go. Pride and privilege. And that's what we have for this week. Hope everybody's surviving out there. Please like this video if you enjoyed it. Please subscribe if you haven't already. And do check out my Patreon. There's a link in the description below. Have a great week. I'll try not to skip another week, but things are pretty crazy right now, but I will really try. I feel like this is an important thing. I feel like it's good for me emotionally to do, and hopefully putting myself out there in the world is helpful or enjoyable to someone. Again, have a great week and always be changing.